What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA Show. And today's video is a deep dive into what has happened with Colby Covington. Now, as you guys know, if you do watch the channel, I'm a huge fan of mixed martial arts, a massive fan of the UFC. And there was a time when I was a fan of Colby Covington. And today's video, I really do try on this channel to stay away from the negative aspects, negative videos, getting down on fighters. That's generally not my style. I do like to focus on the positive aspects and elements of mixed martial arts and UFC and the UFC in general. That's kind of generally how I like to approach life, period. And I've been going back and forth as to whether or not to make this video, but I couldn't not make it. And eventually decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna step through it in an objective fashion, or as objective as possible, and just kind of talk through the entire evolution of Colby Covington, his quote unquote character. And we're going to start with this clip here where he has this Candace Owens interview from a couple years ago. I guess it says 5 years ago. I'm not sure if it was 5 years ago or more, but this is where he breaks character and actually talks openly and honestly about his development in the UFC and how he adopted this persona. He calls it a bad guy character. But one of the things I want to talk about in this video is this. Essentially what's happened is, as he's taken on this quote unquote bad guy character, it's almost blended into himself. And I talked about this in another video. When somebody takes on a role in this fashion and they're always playing it, there tends to be some sort of a merger of a person's actual personality and the character personality. I actually cited some psychological studies where this can happen and has happened to people. It's been documented and scientifically studied. And I wonder if something like that is happening to Colby. And then I also go back to people talking about Colby back in the day that knew him from college or other periods of time. I mentioned Tyron Woodley, John Jones, obviously Jorge Masvidal, who all talk about the negative aspects and elements of Colby Covington's character, that he does have a tendency to be a bit of a liar, or maybe twist the truth or twist reality. So perhaps this quote unquote character is really a emboldened manifestation of Colby's true identity. And he has said that himself. I don't know, but we don't, he said it kind of in character. He said, hey, this is just me, turn the volume up to 11. And one of the biggest issues that I tend to have with Colby's character is the constant lying about the reality of what's really happening. And there was a period of time where I thought it was funny because it seemed as though the lies were intentionalized, meaning he wasn't trying to push them off as actual truths. He was lying so blatantly and boldly, but in a funny way, but he was telling the lies in a funny way. So it almost had a comedic effect. But now it's come to a point where I think he's actually trying to peddle the lies as truth and use it to propel his career in directions that he wants it to go. And it's just really turned me off for a multitude of reasons. I'm going to talk about those reasons in this video. But first, let's start with this clip on the Candace Owens show. So he talks about the development of this quote unquote bad guy character. Let's start here.
I've never told this story before, but 3 fights ago, before I fought the #2 guy in the world, this guy named Damian Maia in Brazil, they had told my manager, Dan Lambert, that they weren't going to re-sign me. They didn't like my style. They didn't like that I wasn't entertaining. And this is before I really started to become an entertainer and understand the entertainment aspect of this business. So before this fight,
and I just want to jump in really quickly. I think we have seen, especially in this last year, when he talks about the entertainment aspect of the business, and I understand that there is an entertainment aspect of the business, but to me, and I think most fans will agree, that the best people in this game are entertainers, not because they are consciously trying to entertain, but it's just in their personality. Even if you want to call, some people say Conor McGregor, his personality is an act. I actually don't think so. I think that's how he always has been and how he is. It's just himself. He has bravado. He has arrogance. He believes in himself. And some of the things he might say seem ridiculous, but I actually think in his mind, those are truths. And now look at somebody like Alex Pereira. He doesn't have to put on an act. His fighting style is amazing. And it's almost like that stoicism that he carries with him has attracted fans and an audience. So I just wanted to start off by, I know he's talking about saying, hey, he realizes it's an entertainment business. Well, I think what's happened with Colby is sadly, neither his fighting style or his personality up to that point, it just wasn't drawing people in. So he felt his only option, I suppose, was to almost take on an act and start playing a role of some sort. And I guess it worked for some time. And I think now it's backfiring. But anyways, let's continue.
Told me no matter what happens, I was ranked number 6 in the world. We're not re-signing you. We don't like your character. We don't like your fighting style. You know, and I'm getting paid $30,000 to go fight the number 2 guy in the world. Like, after you pay taxes and pay your coaches, you're really gonna get like $5,000 or $10,000. So I go out there and I beat him up, leave him in a pool of his own blood in Sao Paulo, Brazil, his home city. And I shoot this promo on the Brazilians, and I say, "Hey, you guys are all a bunch of filthy animals, you know, and Brazil, you're a dump." and going back to kind of the racist thing, you know, everybody's like, "Oh, you're racist. You said Brazilians are filthy animals." I'm like, Brazil is not a race, you know, it's a country, and they use filthy animals in Home Alone, so it's just
filthy animals.
Filthy animal. Keep the change, you filthy animals. So I go,
in this section, right? Because Colby has said a lot of really negative things that have crossed the line. The most recent one is he said some terrible things about Leon Edwards' father and his murder, and that really riled Leon up. I thought that was very inappropriate. He said many other terrible negative things about Jorge Masvidal, John Jones, etc. Whatever you might think about John Jones, I think he's gone out there and said these really terrible things. So what's interesting is in this clip, when he references back to this first controversial quote where he talks negatively about the country of Brazil and Brazilians, you can see here he's sort of implying that it was just a joke. Hey, I'm pulling a line from the Home Alone movie. It wasn't a big deal. People got so upset, but I was just trying to say something funny. I didn't really mean it. I think that's the implication here. But what's happened now is as this character, quote unquote, has evolved, or really Colby Covington has become more bold and brash in terms of what he's willing to say. The difference is now he's saying things that relate to reality. I mean, how can you call what he said about Leon Edwards' father going to hell and being in hell? Hey, I'm going to take you to the 7th layer of hell and we're going to go see your dad. That's grounded in truth, that his father really did get murdered. And I think he did have a criminal history, a criminal past. He's referencing real things. So the things he said about Jorge Masvidal and his financial situation back in the day, his relationship with his kids and his ex-wife, all of these things, I don't know. Now the line has become totally actually crossed. Not even, I was going to say blurred, but it's been completely crossed. And now he's saying things that are truly painful and hurtful that are grounded in reality. So maybe it began as, hey, I'm going to say inflammatory things, but I don't really mean them. Haha, everybody can laugh along with me because they realize I'm in a character. But now I think that's no longer the case. And he's just full blown going after anybody and everybody just to get views, to get clicks, to bolster his name. So let's continue.
Go and shoot this promo, and I wasn't supposed to have my job, but that promo goes so viral on the internet that the UFC's like, we have to keep him. We have to re-sign him because that promo was so big. So that's what saved my career, and that was the turning point in my career, and the rest has been history.
That's crazy. Yeah. So UFC literally signed you because of that video.
Literally, they re-signed me because of that video.
Right.
That was the last fight of my contract, and they were like, "We're not re-signing you. Doesn't matter if you win. We don't like your fighting style. We don't like that you're not entertaining and you're not a character because this is the entertainment show."
Another thing, I don't think they said we don't like your character. I just think he wasn't drawing numbers. He wasn't drawing fans. It's a business at the end of the day. They're paying you to get a return on that investment. And I highly doubt they say that to fighters. They're like, hey, you need to turn up your character. You need to develop a character. It's not the WWE. I would be shocked if this is a common conversation. So again, I think he is it sounds to me like he's slightly manipulating or misremembering this conversation. And again, this goes back to what other people say. I think he may have a tendency not to be completely truthful, and this will continue to play out as I show you more clips. So anyways, let's finish this off, and then we'll move to the next one.
Business. So I go out there and I completely prove them wrong with the show aspect and the entertainment aspect. I get this whole arena. This is a third world country. They're throwing their hot dog, their $5 hot dogs, their $5 beers. They're all screaming, "You suck," and you will die, you know, this and that. And then, you know, the UFC,
you will die.
Yeah. The chant in Brazil is you buy more, which means you will die. And they're screaming this in as I'm walking out to the cage to fight. So this is why I was like, okay, you guys want to,
Yeah.
you want to dish it. You better be ready to take it.
Right,
Because
and
when I win, I'm giving it back to you guys.
Right.
So that's fair, right? They were saying really negative things. Like at this moment in time, I think what he's saying is fair. And I think that statement, as inflammatory it was at the time, I don't think it was the most controversial thing in the world. Okay, now let's fast forward to where he's at now. We're now going to go to this clip. This is right after he fought Joaquin Buckley. I don't know who this guy is. This might be his manager or somebody in his corner, whatever. And now we're going to get into a little bit more of where Colby's at now. And is it just a character, or is he saying these things that are clearly disconnected from reality simply for comedic effect or for these different things? Or now is he almost falling into this trap of the character and his personality merging, and he's just basically completely disconnected from reality and essentially lying? So here, listen to this, because this is crazy. I'm going to show you what he's saying here, as well as his reaction later to the fight. And then we're going to contrast that with what other people have said about the fight. So check this out.
How do you feel? Yeah, I'll be if we can. Hunter and Dana said they wouldn't stop it in Vegas. Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Yeah.
So this is when his fight was stopped because of a doctor stoppage because he had a terrible cut in his eye. And whoever this guy is, he's like, yeah, Hunter and Dana said they wouldn't have stopped this fight in Vegas. And so they're basically both talking about the fact, I think alluding to the idea that Colby believes if the fight wasn't stopped, it shouldn't have been stopped. And if it wasn't stopped, then Colby could have come through and actually been victorious. We're going to play another clip right here. This is again from Colby Covington's YouTube channel that he just launched, just under 5,000 subscribers, that where again, he's talking about how he feels the fight would have gone, etc. So check this out. If you did watch the fight, you already know how crazy this sounds, but just check this out.
The fight, was just getting warmed up. Everybody knows I'm a 4th and 5th round fighter. I just get started in those championship rounds. I could have finished him in that 4th, 5th round. He was breathing heavy. He didn't have much more to offer. He wasn't going to be able to have much volume in those last rounds. So I feel like I was going to be able to take over in that fight. It was a close competitive fight. He didn't outclass me. He didn't drop me. He didn't really hurt me. There was a little cut that happened. I rewatched the film. It was like minute 2, and it was like a headbutt or right off his hip or something, but it wasn't from a punch. So, that's the only thing that really limited my potential to be at 100% was the fact that I had blood draining in my eye and I couldn't see. I'm seeing 3-4 different people. It's hard to keep fighting through that, but that's what I signed up for. I'm a gladiator. This is what I love to do. That in adversity moments like that, that's where I show my real character, to push through and be able to rise up stronger. So, it's unfortunate that DEI doctor stopped the fight early. I feel like the fight was just getting started and there was a lot more that needed to be settled in there. So, it's unfortunate. It sucks, but it's out of my hands. And that's the biggest thing is, I did everything I could. I showed up for the company on 2.5 weeks notice. I wasn't even trained. I didn't even have a training camp together. I literally, I had to put my favorite fighter of all time, Chael Sonnen, the undisputed, undefeated, Westland gangster, as my head coach and switch everything around. Didn't have any training partners, didn't get a proper training camp like this guy. He was in training camp for 12 weeks. All
right, I have to stop it right here. So what do we see here? We see a litany of excuses, constant excuses. And again, I used to think all this stuff was part of the character and he didn't even believe it. He's just saying it just to rile people up and be funny. But when you looked at that previous clip, that was right after the fight. I don't think he's trying to be in character right there when he's getting his eye stitched up and having a conversation. I actually think he legitimately believes some of this, at least. And even if he doesn't, in certain cases, I don't think it's being pushed for comedic effect. I think he's trying to create and build this insane narrative. But at this point, maybe he kind of got away with it when he lost, I think it was the first or the second Kamaru Usman fight. I can't remember, where there was a doctor stoppage and not doctor stoppage, excuse me. The Mark Goddard stopped the fight and called it a TKO because Colby was on the ground getting beaten and he wasn't defending himself. And Colby got up and immediately started protesting that. And that one, people felt pretty universally that it was stopped appropriately. But I think when he was disputing that, like, there was an argument to be had there to some extent because he popped right up. He seemed to be fine. And I think any objective watcher recognized that Mark Goddard did the right thing, but there was a case for it. Now it's just so disconnected from reality that it's just completely ridiculous. So what is really happening? I think it's just everything is getting, the lines are getting blurred, and Colby is just evolving into a non-truth teller, and it's turning a lot of people off. Now, just to contrast this, if you did miss the fight, with two other folks talking about the fight. First, we're going to go to Daniel Cormier and his review of Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley. Check this out.
I think he might be the guy that gets Jack Della Maddalena, because I think he's
That'd be a
close.
good one.
Dude,
They're talking about Joaquin Buckley right now, so check this out.
he beat the shit out of Colby Covington, bro.
That's probably why everyone loves you. You beat him.
Bro, did you watch that fight? Did you get to watch that?
No, I watched highlights.
Bro,
I watched highlights. It was late.
Bro, I've never seen Colby get beat that bad before. But yes, so Buckley's kind of found his groove.
All right, so just that little snippet, right? Contrast it with what Colby was saying. I was just getting started. I could have beaten him in round 4 and 5, and it was because of this. It was because of the cut, because of that. If you actually watch the fight, like DC did, like Ben Askren did, like I did, it was domination. Joaquin smoked him every which way. It was complete domination. And so for Colby to come out and say something like that after the fact, even when he's getting the stitches, or in that video after the fact, which may have been a little scripted, a little staged, I don't know. But there's just such a disconnect. Like, I just don't know how somebody can get out there and lie in such a bold-faced, blatant manner and really be trying to push that as a true narrative, as the reality. I don't really understand what's going on. I think he's obviously turning a lot of fans off. So I wish he would just dial it back and try and be honest and open all of a sudden. I think a lot of people would get behind him at this point if he was willing to do that. But I don't know. I don't know if this is just really him and he just can't do it because of his own ego or whatnot. All right, now we'll go on to Robert Whittaker's reaction as well. Again, just to bolster the same standpoint that Colby is completely out of his mind in the things he's saying about that fight.
He looked bad. Covington looked bad. And understandably, after the fight, he was like, "Oh, I just came off the couch." You look like you came off the couch, dude. You fought like it. He was all the talk at one point in the game. You know, he was such a force to be reckoned with. And then he got dismantled. And props to Buckley. He's been so active lately. You could see how sharp he was for that factor. He understood the game. He had to make Covington pay on his way in. He had to make him pay on his way out. He had to make Covington shoot out of desperation, not freely. And he did that the entire fight. And then the moments he had to use his wrestling defense, he did it perfectly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's something I want to touch on, but let me ask, what do you think?
And I just want to stop there because Robert Whittaker's insights and analysis are just so on point, spot on. He's never trying to say anything other than the truth. So I just want to share that as well. Once again, it was pure domination. If you didn't watch the fight, watch the fight. Joaquin Buckley did an amazing job. I think Colby showed that one highlight of the tornado kick, which was kind of dope, and it did land. But you saw Buckley's reaction, like he laughed. I don't know. I mean, he caught it in the guard. It's not like it was a clean shot. But I don't know if he laughed because he felt like it was a weak shot, or you just laughed because he was shocked that he threw a tornado kick. Whatever it was, that was Colby's one highlight of the fight. All right, now we're going to go to one final clip. This is a clip of Colby the day before, I think, at the UFC facility somewhere in Florida, a UFC gym, and he went there and trained. Again, I don't even know if I don't know who's coaching him at this point. I think his previous team that was training him after he left American Top Team, I think it seemed like they've abandoned him. I don't even think he has trainers right now because he went and trained with the staff at the UFC gym. It's very, very bizarre. But anyways, I want to focus on this one thing that he always talks about, that he's a natural 170er. So check this out.
I was training. Training was good, man. I feel good. Weight cut's easy. I don't have to cut weight because I'm not a weight bully. I fight in my natural weight like a fucking real fighter should do.
Okay. So that's what he said. Once again, I'm just stacking up one more crazy assertion. Now he said, "I'm not a weight bully. I fight at my natural weight. Weight cut's easy. I don't have to cut weight," is what he says. Now this is right after he weighed in, talking to Chael Sonnen. You be the judge. You tell me, did he have to cut weight or not? I've never seen him look more insanely dehydrated and on the verge of death in my life than in this interview. This is insane.
Now we've got Buckley, it seems like he's getting a bit of an opportunity to be raised up. Tough opponent, but an opportunity. Why'd you give it to him?
Yeah, so, you know, I called Hunter Campbell when Bilal backed out of the title fight against Shavkat, and I wanted to fight Shavkat. I wanted to expose him and prove the hype wasn't real. So I offered to fight Shavkat, but Hunter wanted to go the direction of undefeated.
Also, that's major cap. You know that's not true, but anyways, let's keep watching.
So he said, hey, but if you want to fight, we really want you to fight Buckley in the main event of Tampa. Can you come save the day? So I said, yeah, I'm a company man. I love this company more than anything. So, you know, this isn't about giving Buckley opportunity. This is about doing good business for the company.
Sure. When
I don't know if you've ever seen Colby look like this. I've never seen him look like this. He looks like he's on the verge of death, at the doorsteps of death. Horrendous weight cut. I mean, he did say he wasn't really training. He was doing other stuff. I don't know. So probably maybe he had put on some weight. Maybe he just wasn't. His diet wasn't on point, so he did have to cut a lot of weight. But again, it's just one more instance of just everything coming out of his mouth being complete deception and complete non-truths. Why? What is happening is he actually at his core a pathological liar, like John Jones has said. And again, I'm not trying to just beat up on Colby and be negative. I'm just honestly asking these questions. What has happened to him? Because there was a point where he was a very popular fighter. He was doing good things. And these little bit of lies and non-truths peppered in where I felt like they're more for comedic effect than anything. And then now everything has just become mashed together and it's just all lies. And I don't think they're there for comedic effect. I think he's just grasping onto straws and he doesn't know what to do. So he's just lie after lie after lie after lie. The last thing I want to say is what does bother me is the thing when he tries to, when you take on this quote unquote bad guy character, as he said himself, and it's just a lie after lie after lie. But then you also, on top of that, try to have some element of being a role model to kids and to the youth. That's when I have a bit of a problem, because now you're really confusing people. You're trying to be somewhat of a role model and say some of the right things, but then go on and act like this and behave like this and say these really horrendous things, just lie after lie. And you might actually get some kids wanting to be like you, wanting to follow you. Case in point, he goes out to defend law enforcement, people that I have absolute, utter respect for. If you ever have to deal with somebody, if you've ever been in a position where you have to deal with a criminal or somebody harassing you or things like that, which I've had to deal with, you very quickly realize how valuable and important the police are. And I get that there are some negative narratives generally about the police. I think they're kind of really nonsense. You can't just put them under one blanket. And man, when you need their help, you will realize that they are invaluable pieces and parts of our community. We need the police. And if anything, with the way things are going, we need more police. Now, Colby champions that cause. And I'm not saying he shouldn't, because it's important. But when somebody is behaving like this and seems to be somewhat of a habitual liar, and then they say these positive things, I don't really like that, because now you have a positive message coming from a negative person. So it confuses people, and people may want to look up to you as a role model. And what is at the core of crime, in my opinion? It's dishonesty, it's lying. So, not saying he's a criminal by any means, Colby Covington is, but when you're taking on, when you have those types of actions become such a core part of your personality, and then you're trying to preach good, I don't like it. And I feel like it sends mixed signals and a bad message overall to the youth. But anyways, that's the last thing I wanted to say. You tell me what you guys think about Colby Covington. What has happened to him? Is this just his career kind of falling apart as he's getting older and starting to lose some of his cardio, some of his skills, not developing and not training properly? And so now he's out of desperation, just lie after lie after lie to keep his career afloat, just to make a little bit more money before he might be finally cut. Is this his true personality just emerging more and more and more of this pathological liar that John Jones has said is part of Colby's personality, and other people have said the same thing? I don't know. You guys tell me, or let me know what you guys think in the comment. Are you guys still fans of Colby, or have you also felt like you're stepping away like me as well? Last but not least, let me know in the comments, if he takes another fight or two, who do you want to see him fight? I know my mind is made up. I want to see him fight Ian Machado Gary. 100% has to happen. Would be a massive, massive fight. And I think Colby could get a good payday if he negotiates correctly, because I think he doesn't want that fight, and I think he believes it's a bad matchup for him. But yo, if you're up there and you got a couple fights left, just take it, get a good payday, in my opinion. But that's, of course, up to Colby Covington. Thank you guys so much for joining. Give this video a like if you did like it. Make sure to click subscribe if you want to see more from the 10-7 MMA show. All right, that's it, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.